Today I'm going to talk about eBaseball Pro Spirit 2026, which is the first English language North American release in this long-running, decades-long series by Konami of baseball sims. The previous release in this series from 2 years ago, eBaseball Pro Spirits 2024-2025, went a little bit viral on Baseball YouTube for being just a big graphical leap over what the show had been doing. It's set in the Japanese Baseball League, and even though there's very little English in the game, so it makes it a little bit of a language barrier to be able to play. But still, people are having a lot of fun with both the gameplay and the look and the sound. And I think people are just desperate for like a new competitor to the show. The show hasn't had like AAA competitions since 2013, MLB 2K13. There was the RBI Baseball reboot series, but it was a different kind of lower budget thing, not a real competitor. So we're interested in seeing how well this does, how interested people are, even though it doesn't have an MLB license, how well the new game's going to do, and if Konami will be convinced to start its own MLB competitor series. Hi, my name's Nate. I've been running the 3030 Club YouTube since 2020, just recording gameplay videos of different baseball video games, trying to explore kind of the whole world of baseball games, not just things released in America, but all the many games that came out in Korea, Japan, Taiwan, mods and things in Latin America, things like that, for a long time. I actually taught myself Japanese in order to play baseball video games. It started with Pro Yakyuu Spirits 2011, a version of this game from 15 years ago, where I was getting tired of MLB The Show being the same every year, and wanted to see what else was out there. I found an import copy of this game about NPB, the Japanese Baseball League, and the menus are not in English, so I could pretty much only play exhibition games until I started to learn how to read katakana at first. Teaching myself more over time so I could play more of the game. From there I discovered, old Family Stadium, Famista games. I discovered Power Pros series, and the million other like Famicom games that came out in Japan. It's been something I've just continued to explore and learn more about. Konami's been circling around this for a little while. They released MLB Pro Spirit and then advertised heavily on the All-Star Game and various MLB games. It's a fun game, it's a lower budget thing, it's not as graphically impressive, and there's a lot of competition in that mobile game space with MLB licensing. Then they released eBaseball Pro Spirit, confusingly very similar to this title, a free-to-play game with no license, online competition focused with a bunch of fictional players. Lets you kind of see what the gameplay is like, but without those real player likenesses, the graphics aren't quite as impressive. So nothing's been a real entrant into, let's try and take on Sony and the show. Konami actually tried this once before with MLB Power Pros and MLB Power Pros 2008. It's a cartoonier, it looks like it was marketed towards kids in the US, but actually that's the main seller in Japan, and a bigger series than Spirits is. It's got a new story mode every year. Now it has this Powerfez mode, which is kind of a roguelike-ish thing that they renovate every year and make new. So there's a lot more effort and budget actually put into the sort of less realistic-looking game over in Japan. But in the US, we always prefer the realistic graphics, the high-budget look, and so Spirits is the obvious entrant for Konami to try and bring their games overseas. This game is a bit cheaper than the show. It's going to launch at $60, where the show is at $70. Unfortunately, in Japan, they even get a World Baseball Classic mode. In World Baseball Classic in the show, for me, it was a little disappointing where you had to play only the Diamond Dynasty mode. I would love to be able to just play through a tournament and choose whichever team I like instead of having to use the kind of gacha mode, the card collecting mode. The mode is what you want it to be in eBaseball Pro Spirit. Unfortunately, it's just not releasing that mode in North America. It has Team USA, it has Aaron Judge, Ronald Acuna Jr., Cal Raleigh are in the game. But due to licensing issues, maybe they're not allowed to compete with Sony. I'm not sure. That mode isn't coming to North America. So At least in my case, I'm going to be buying a Japanese copy of the game so I can try that mode out. It has some interesting game modes that are all going to come out in English as far as we know. They haven't shown off a lot of them in the trailers yet, but the website says they'll be included. Pennant is what they call their franchise mode, where you control a team and you make trades and drafts and things like that to control the team. There are a lot of options there in how you control the team. You can just sim, you can play all the games yourself, you can play key moments, you can manage the team, you can play, there's a manager mode in there. A lot of different options, too much to talk about here. There's Star Player, which would be, Road to the Show would be the equivalent in the show. You're controlling one player, controlling them or simulating their career through each game. There are lots of little dialogue scenes and stuff in there. It's a little more featured than what the show has, although it's nothing compared to the My Life mode in the Power Pro series, unfortunately. We've got Spirits mode, which is a very different. It's like a little card game that you play where you're creating your own player and then doing kind of a pokery sort of game to figure out what their attributes are. Pretty fun to just go through, and if you're trying to quickly create a whole team of different custom players, that's a cool mode to go through. Then there's the last mode that I really like, Yakyuu no Kiseki. So far they're just keeping that Japanese title and all promo material. It means something like White Ball Miracle. This is a high school baseball manager mode, including kind of a board game mechanic. If you like NCAA football, franchise, something like that, it's sort of similar to that, where you're controlling this team of players that cycle out because they graduate from the school, and you keep having to train replacements and recruit. Just recruiting, training, and then playing as the team or managing them. Just really cool mechanics based on a Power Pros mode called Akon 9. Just a lot of fun and really cool to see high school baseball represented. I can't think of a single US released high school baseball game. So, there's little bits of it in the show and Road to the Show now, but this is a full-on, you control the same team over the years, keep trying to take on, win a national championship in Japan, Japanese high school. So there are a few things different there where players are only playing for 3 years. It's very focused on these big tournaments for the prefecture and then a national tournament. So there's a little bit to learn there, a little bit of a culture barrier, but really cool mode, really fun controlling your team and making it better over time. There are a few basic gameplay differences to keep in mind between Spirits and the show. If you're used to the show, you might think you can just contact swing through everything, do the standard swing. If you're playing Spirits mode and you're using a power hitter, hit the shoulder button, you'll get the smaller circle icon to swing with. That's your power swing, and almost every home run you hit will be swinging that way. I have played the series for a long time. I've maybe hit, I would guess, 3 home runs using just the standard contact swing. It's just, if you want a home run, you really do need to go for the smaller PCI there. Spirits also has separate push and pull swing buttons. This lets you kind of imagine you're going to slash it the opposite way, and you have kind of a later time to, if you're maybe facing a fireballing pitcher and you want a little bit more reaction time, you can use that push swing. Your ideal timing is a little later, and you're just trying to slash it the opposite way. Pretty satisfying. A lot of people never use it, and it's okay if you don't want to either. But I find it fun to kind of, with 2 strikes, imagine myself, shortening up, waiting to just hit, like an outside fastball the other way, and it tends to work pretty well. When fielding, you don't preload your throws in Pro Yakyuu Spirits, Professional Baseball Spirits. If you hit the button like you would in the show, like getting ready to throw ahead of time, your player's going to dive and fall on their face and fail to catch the ball. There's no throw meter. It's just once you get the ball, you hit the button for which base you're going to throw to, and then he throws it there. It's relatively simple that way. You are still able to make diving and jumping catches, but it's just you don't preload your throw there. That's a mistake a lot of people make, switching between the 2 series. The difficulty I find a little more interesting to fine tune in Spirits. You can choose, there's just an overall difficulty, which you can go into and change for base running and hitting and pitching separately if you want. And then there's pitch speed, which is kind of fun to play around with for difficulty. There are There's like basic speed, middle speed plus, and then real speed, which is something close to the actual reaction time you would have as a hitter. So a lot of times it might make sense to keep the difficulty pretty low, but have the speed higher if you like just having quick twitch reaction gameplay. Or you can go the opposite way and say, like, my reaction time isn't that great, but I don't want them just throwing a fastball down the middle every time, so let me get a higher difficulty but a lower pitch speed, which I think works for a lot of people too. You'll recognize some players in the game. There's some former MLB, stars might be putting it a little too heavily, but there are former MLB players who are in the game. Franmil Reyes is a big star in Japan right now. He's in commercials and things like that, and he's just got monstrous power in the game on the fighters. Bobby Dahlbeck is over there, Jose Osuna, and again, a little unfortunate that the American release won't get World Baseball Classic because a really cool feature is they're going to have every Team Japan that won the World Baseball Classic will be in the game. So 2009, you've got Ichiro and Daisuke Matsuzaka. They're in the game, and they're going to look great and play really well. Yu Darvish is in the Japanese release of the game. It's a shame that we probably won't have those guys in the American release. Maybe they'll give them to us outside of the World Baseball Classic mode or something, but unlikely. There's a different fan culture over in NPB where every player has their own chant that the fans do. That leads to a cool audio experience where you're really hearing like the singing and chants all throughout the game. If some of those chants in real life are replicated here, some of them are based on real licensed songs, and so either can't be in the game or available as paid DLC. That's probably going to be a Japan-only thing, the paid song DLC. We'll see as we get closer to release. In terms of graphics, really both the show and Spirits have a similar issue where there's a clear difference between players who had a real face scan in the studio of the game developer and then players who didn't. In Spirits, you'll definitely see like new foreign players come in and they have something that just barely looks like them. And you can certainly see that in the show when there's a new Japanese player who comes over, or if you see the Team Japan players in Diamond Dynasty and World Baseball Classic, they'll have only a vague resemblance to the real player. And then once they do good enough, like Yamamoto did, they end up with a face scan the next game, they look a lot better. There's a little bit of a weird clay texture look in the show to the faces that makes all of them look a little worse even when they have a good face scan. That's not here in Konami's game. If a player is a real big star and they have a good face scan, they look pretty amazing in the Spirits series. Spirits does have an advantage, obviously, in terms of what resources they have to spend. There are only 12 teams in Japan compared to 30, and not counting all the minor league teams that the show includes. So they're able to spend more attention on each player. And your starting lineups are all pretty well done in terms of likenesses in the Spirit series. The show definitely more inconsistent, and when you get to those minor league rosters, it seems like they have some kind of auto-gen face thing. Maybe it's based on a photo of the player and then feeds into a formula that produces a likeness. I don't like the look of the minor league, even big prospects in the minor leagues in the show. I mean, you can't expect them to spend all the time in the role of those players, but still, they've just got a strange look and kind of a similar look between all the minor league players. You can just tell, and it's just a little tough to look at. July 16th is when the game comes out. It's on PlayStation 5 and Steam. Just being on Steam in the first place is a big deal. The show, there have been rumors about it coming to PC, but nothing yet, and we're starting to hear talk about Sony maybe moving away from having games come off of their main platforms. So it may never happen. So besides, really since the late MLB 2K games, there hasn't been a PC, great graphics, AAA simulation baseball game in a long time. Without that MLB license, it won't be a full competitor, obviously. No one's expecting it to outsell the show. But I think people are going to really like the gameplay once they get used to it, and then the graphics, I really hope is going to spur the show on to doing a graphical overhaul in the series, because it's just, the side-by-side is too harsh to look at. It's just too big of a difference. it's like a true next-gen looking game, the Spirit series. And the show has looked more or less the same since early PS4 days. So I'll be back with more when the game comes out, July 16th. Give it a try if you're interested in something that's not the show, just looking for a new baseball game. Super Mega Baseball isn't coming out anymore, unfortunately. So this is the competition that's out there. This is what you're going for if you want a different kind of baseball video game experience. And I think it's worth incentivizing just competition in the space. Games do better when there's competition, and it's been a while since there's been competition on any of the real AAA sports sims out there. Pick your favorite NPB team. Maybe you're a Hiroshima Carp fan, Yomiuri Giants, Orcs Buffaloes here, and give the pennant a try. Play the game. It takes time. Just be aware it takes time to get used to a new game. Baseball sims, are tough at first. You might find yourself hitting just over the ball over and over. Be aware in this new game, the cursor has to be kind of run right on the middle of the ball to get the perfect contact that you want, because it really is. If you hit the bottom half of the ball, it's going to be a fly ball pop up. If you hit the top half, it's a ground out. Be aware that it's asking kind of a lot of precision out of you, so don't be afraid to have that difficulty low. There may be a lot of games where you're only hitting pitches that end up right down the middle, but that's why they give you those meatball pitches, those mistake pitches in the game. Because it's asking a lot. It's asking for a lot of precision out of the analog stick in order to find those spots. So the game comes out eBaseball Pro Spirit 2026, July 15th, 2026. I'll be covering it a lot more here. There's a lot of resources on my website, 30-30.club, including posts I'll link to below about how to buy the game, the Japanese version of the game, if you want that World Baseball Classic mode. This has been Nate from 30-30 Club. Thanks for watching.